Yeah, this is what it's come to. Quarantine is driving me crazy. Dude, are you gonna go or what? I will take my sweet time. Thank you very much. Okay. You got any twos? I know you're looking at my hand. If I find out how. Yeah. You happy? I am very happy, thank you very much. It's almost like I can see your hand. Okay, game over. Are you confused yet? I know I am. So I hope you enjoyed that little pre-house arrest, pre-quarantine little photo walk downtown with the Nikon One Touch and my Rolleiflex. So now let's break down the specs on the Nikon One Touch. This is also known as the Nikon One Touch AF3. It is the third in the series. The previous two had a few different features, and this is kind of a combination of the previous two. So this takes one 223 6-volt battery. It has a 35mm 2.8 macro lens. So that is one of the main differences between this camera and the predecessors, is that this focuses down to 1.5 feet, which really isn't much of a macro, but it is nice to have that extra 1.5 feet, whereas the previous one was 2.8 feet. Also, this is a 4-element coated lens, whereas the AF1 was a 5 coated element lens, if I'm not mistaken. It is very simple, but it is also a very capable point-and-shoot camera. Pretty much just 3 buttons. It was produced in the 1980s. It is an electronic leaf shutter that is kind of loud. And then worse is the rewind. Of course, there's no film in here, but so a trick that you can do if you're trying to stay a little bit inconspicuous is you can press the shutter, of course, and the flash went off, and then you can wait till you walk away or something and let go, and that will advance the film. So a neat little trick there. Yes, the flash is automatic. However, if you want to override the flash, it will tell you in the viewfinder by blinking red that the flash is going to fire. So there's this little button here on the front, and all you would do is press that and then repress the shutter, and that will disengage the flash. Kind of awkward placement, but it is nice to have that button as an option to press that. Also, focus, like I said, goes down to 1.5 feet. There, a green light will flash in the viewfinder to let you know that it has a focus. No telling what that focus is. It's center weighted, of course, but it will tell you it has focus, so I guess that's a plus. Speaking of viewfinders, it's great, nice and bright. It has the compensation lines for parallax adjustment, which is also great. The only other button, of course, besides the film rewind, which you need a pen to do, as well as to open up the battery compartment. Not sure how I feel about that. And then, of course, the film door. The only other button besides the given buttons is the red one right here, which is a timer. To use that one there. Other than that, I mean, you have the film counter up here, and then shutter button here, and also, of course, you have this little dial here that lets you know film is advancing, so that is a positive. Another cool feature that this has, since it was produced later, is that when you insert your film, you don't have to insert it into the spool. All you do is pull it over to the red line, and it will automatically advance the film once you've closed it. And then once it is done, it'll rewind, of course, and then it'll leave the tab, which is cool. So if you develop your own film or anything, you don't have to use a tab retrieval and pull that out. It'll leave just the end of it so you can pull the film out yourself. So another plus there. Another slightly odd thing about this camera is that if you look, you can actually mount filters onto this, and it covers the light meter. So that's nice. You don't have to compensate. It'll take care of all that for you, which I guess even if you wanted to, you couldn't compensate since there's no other buttons on this thing. Not exactly sure what the size is, but it is a little small. And then lastly, of course, shutter speeds go from 1/11th of a second, yes, that is 1/11th of a second, to 1/500. So that about wraps it up for the Nikon One Touch. Really enjoyed this. It's got a pretty decent lens. It is later. It's, of course, very plasticky. I don't mind the body. I think it's good. It's got a cool look to it. And I enjoyed shooting it. It was pretty accurate, didn't seem to give me too many problems. Of course, I shot JCH 400 in this. I'm gonna hang on to this for a while. Very great camera, very underrated, very capable. I think these go for roughly $100 now, but because they are older, well, newer, I guess, in their 80s, 90s, and not the older ones, you know, 50s, 60s, 70s, all that, they look cheaper, and so they tend to be overlooked. So if you find them in a thrift store and things like that, you're probably gonna get a much better deal than if you go searching online where people actually know or research what they're worth. I actually found one of these in a thrift store for a friend of mine who was visiting, and then I think 2 weeks later, I found this one in that same thrift store. Both I think I got for $5, $10 tops, and this is, I mean, it's barely has a scratch on it, which is great. And it's an awesome camera. Pretty compact, and yeah, we'll definitely be using this again for some different roles. Oh, and lastly, this does of course take coated film only. You can't select the film in this model. I believe in the AF1 you chose what ISO was in the camera, whereas the AF2 and the AF3, it was DX coated film only, which goes up to 1600 for these cameras. And that about wraps it up for the Nikon One Touch AF3. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.